Bitcoin has printed some very interesting signals this week already, and I just want to bring them to your attention because I think a lot of people are about to be blindsided. But this red trend line here, this is something you probably haven't really seen unless you've been watching my channel since back at these levels here. This trend line dates back over 10 years, and it's got very accurate touch points along this trend. Yes, there's not a ton of touch points, but every time we get to that level, it ends up being respected in some way. So the fact that this level was such a strong level of support for over 10 years, you guys know that over the last few months, I was a little bit concerned that that was looking like it was flipping into resistance. It totally did. That's where our FTX dump happened. We were just respecting that old support as resistance. FTX happened. We got that dump to the downside. What I'm seeing now, though, is I have reason to believe that this was just one giant fake out because we've got back above that line. We've reclaimed it. And I didn't know how much weight to give this trend line, but the fact that even this little pullback we had this week after we got our big engulfing candle, we engulfed over our previous, here, let me just make that a more easy to read line there. We broke back above this lower high structure that I was very interested in seeing how we react with. We obviously had our initial dump from that level, retested this downward sloping resistance as support and blasted off to the upside. So along with this big engulfing candle, we've also reclaimed this 10-year support line. And yeah, it's just crazy. Even these last couple days, the little bit of a pullback we had, we basically retested it absolutely perfectly. So I don't want to rule this out. And I think a lot of people are going to be blindsided by that because I'm hearing all over social media and groups I'm a part of, all that sort of stuff. I see a lot of people thinking this move is overextended, but we have just reclaimed a line that would be a fake out. That would just be the very beginning of a move, in my opinion. When you're really zoomed out looking at the weekly chart here, if this was any other time frame, this would not look overextended at all. But the fact is, most people in crypto especially are very impatient, and it just feels like we're way overextended on smaller time frames. But looking at the bigger time frames, this looks bullish as hell, in my opinion. Obviously, this isn't financial advice. You do your own research and form your own opinions. Do your own back testing. I'm just showing what the technicals are telling me and how I'm interpreting them. But that looks absolutely amazing. On top of that, I have these, basically the bear market resistance lines, downward sloping resistance lines, which you see that was also retested absolutely perfectly as support. But if I bring up my the MDX Algo 3 indicator here, something else I want to point out, that with that engulfing candle reclaiming that support line, we actually got a weekly long signal. And anytime that's happened after we've had a 50% or more pullback, basically breaking out from that bearish downward sloping trend, I mean, these have been basically marking out the bull market bottom. Yes, we get these pullbacks and stuff along the way, but those are very nice signs. So the fact that that signal is lining up with that 10-year trend line that I'm talking about, with engulfing this big range here, we have the market flow here. I don't know if you can see this very faint gray line here, but it is taking a very steep curl to the upside here, showing that momentum has flipped to the upside. And you guys know I've been pointing out this 48K target, which I know it's sounded ridiculous ever since I've been talking about it since way back in these levels, saying that this is absolutely potential for a final bear market rally target there. And you guys know I've been pointing that out because of the Fibonacci's. If I pull from our bull market high to where we have currently bottomed out, that would be our 618 fib, which has been respected in previous bear markets or beginning of bull markets, whatever you want to say. That has been a very important level in the market. And the fact that it lines up so well with this structure back here just makes it all that much more valid, in my opinion. On top of that, check this out. That is our yearly high. That is the yearly high on this chart from, that would be last year. That's last year, the highest price that we reached last year. So that lines up with the structure, with the 618. We have this weekly long signal, market flow curling to the upside, reclaimed this 10-year support line. And on top of that, oscillator 4 up here, you can see the bands are starting to break out. We got this hidden bullish divergence. The oscillator 5, We got this green continuation dot, and this money flow is a nice juicy green cloud here. This is a very important signal because money talks, and that is saying that buying volume has been coming into the market, and with the banking crisis, it's only been getting stronger. And on top of that, the RSI is the last thing I want to point out. I totally think the RSI could move higher. Yes, it's getting close to that overbought conditions. I know people love to say that this is overbought, but in reality, if the RSI is this high, that doesn't necessarily mean it's overbought until you start seeing bearish divergences, kind of something like that. Then yeah, absolutely it's overbought and we get that bearish divergence. Cool. But as it stands right now, the weekly loves to go into those ranges. I mean, look how long it stayed overbought so many times. And what type of moves came with the RSI being in overbought conditions. So if someone was trying to say that, hey, this trend is overextended because the RSI was getting into overbought conditions, I mean, that was happening at the very beginning of this bull market back here, and you would have missed out on about 50x if I'm not mistaken, had you, over 5,000% to the upside when things were considered overbought to a lot of people. So just something to be very cautious of there, you guys. Honestly, the RSI on the weekly goes into overbought conditions so often, and it can stay there for a long time. So just be cautious of that, you guys. Don't stand in front of a moving train. I think that 48K target just makes more and more sense every week here. I'm not changing my opinion on that. Obviously, anything can happen. Maybe we do just dump back down below this line. This was more of a warning that we were going to start taking a dump. Sure, you know, that could be a thing. I don't typically trade on solely the weekly chart anyways. I like the shorter time frames for entries. But as far as a macro look goes on the market, this is all so absolutely beautiful. I don't know what else to say about it. Just be cautious out there if you are bearish and thinking things are overextended, because you guys know my opinion. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to bring your attention. If you did appreciate this market outlook, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you found this video useful, because I think there's some very important information here moving forwards, do me a favor and share this video. I think that there is some very important signals happening in the chart right now that are being overlooked, so something to consider anyways. With that being said, guys, obviously, once again, not financial advice. Do your own research. But yeah, take it for what it is. I'm liking what I see personally. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.